Hello, and thank you for watching The Academy. I am your host, Professor Casandra Owens. Here is where we discuss those issues that can make or break an academic setting. My guest for this show is a graduate of Union University and pastor of the historic First Baptist Church here in Jackson, Tennessee, Pastor William Watson. Pastor Watson is a prolific minister and has served as the executive pastor of Cumming Street Baptist Church in Memphis, Tennessee. Welcome, Pastor Watson.
Thank you for having me.
Let's jump right in. Tell me about yourself and how you came to be pastor of First Baptist Church here in Jackson.
I'm just thankful again for the opportunity to share how I came to be pastor here at First Baptist in Jackson, Tennessee. It's kind of an interesting scenario. I was preaching for Pastor Tisdale at Rehoboth Baptist Church here in the city, helping to look at, design, and see how he could better implement ministry in his church. He had asked me to come and do a Sunday morning setting just to get the feel of what was going on. And after that, sermon over, I'm walking out of the church shaking hands, and a member, wonderfully Miss Rebecca Burnett, who's going on to be with the Lord, stopped me and shared with me. She said, would you come to our church and preach, or would you even mind moving to Jackson? I shared with her, no I wouldn't, because Jackson to me, again, sad to say, and I'm sorry to say, but 6 years later I know better, was just a stop for me on my way to Nashville. But now I know better.
So you are from Memphis.
I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
And you thought Jackson was?
A stop on the way to Nashville.
Had you planned to move to Nashville at some point?
I had not. I just used to go.
Come on, 40.
Yes, ma'am.
I got you.
Just to go hang out with friends and family for the annual festival of homecoming at Tennessee State. And so it was just a wonderful stop on the way.
Gotcha.
It was an opportunity to gas up in those years because cars didn't travel as far. And so after preaching that Sunday and talking with that group and just sharing it how things were kind of going, she asked me to submit. I chose not to submit. I kind of waited to the last minute to submit for ministry because, again, I was just indifferent about moving from my place of service to here because I love Memphis so much. I love the church I serve so much. And so, ironically, I submitted, and they asked me to come preach, which I was shocked. And so after preaching the first time in April of 2011, they asked me back in September, and in October, I was elected and preached my first sermon in October 2011, and I've been here and been loving it ever since.
So let me see. So you're a Memphis native.
I'm a Memphis native.
Born and bred.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do high school there?
I did high school at Central High School.
Okay.
Central High School.
Okay.
Central High School. My mom made me go to Central. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And you didn't like our little city, or just had never really experienced the love and the
I had
camaraderie?
never really experienced Jackson because, again, it was on my way. So the most of Jackson I knew were the gas stations that we stopped at to get gas and to get food on our way.
Had you ever heard of Lane?
I had never heard of Lane College.
And you right there in Memphis?
And I'm right there. In Memphis, it was either Lemoyne-on, U of M, or it was Tennessee State, but had never heard of Lane College.
That is amazing.
I had people who had gone to Lane, but I never really knew. There was a son of our church who had just passed on, who is a recent deceased, but he's a graduate of Lane in Pastor Dwight Montgomery.
Yes.
Pastor Annisdale Cherokee Baptist Church, who was also a son of Cumming Street, and I still had no idea of Lane College.
Wow, that's amazing. So tell me, Pastor Watson, what does ministry look like for you and for millennials or for this next generation? How do you do ministry, and has it changed over the years? Kind of where are you with that whole process?
It's unique.
How so?
Ministry is very unique, transitionally for where we've come from to where we are now. It's unique. We have to do ministry differently in many ways because of technology. Technology has changed so much. It was one television station to multiple television stations, radio, but now you have phones that broadcast national, international And most of this generation lives and dies by their phone, their iPad, or their computer. And so you have to think in multiple frames of the mode of getting the message out, not just you come to the church, which is a desire that you have some type of intimate fellowship with the body outside of virtual reality. But in many ways, there will be some who would never set foot into a church setting traditionally as we know it, but church for them will still be just as real through their phones, through their computers, through, you know.
Yeah, I struggle with that because I think that, and I'm older, that I think two things. I think one, the day of pastors behind a pulpit preachers is long gone. But I also think that there has to be a way for us to incorporate the aura of worship that you cannot get through technology.
Sure.
And so I'm not sure how to make that fit, and I struggle with that on a daily basis.
Well, I think that we have to challenge the table of ministry more when it comes to fellowship, because most of the reasons for being behind the phone or behind the iPad or being behind the computer is the lack of sensitivity in the congregation when we gather. It becomes more of a judgmental opportunity for those who are of age as us versus those who are coming in this what's called free thinking society. So you have to understand the changes of thoughts. Now, I'm not saying be accepting of everything, but there is a change in thought. And so now we have to deal with what is that change in thought, and then shaping to understand that ministry must meet and sometimes overrule what the thoughts are, but you have to get them into the room so they can understand the absolute principles of the biblical text in order for them to launch out. They have no real strong foundation when it comes to the principles of the text.
And you think that, or I think what I heard you say was, you can give them that even with technology if we change our thought processes as to why we need technology.
Because there's a draw there. There's a draw there. There is a draw there. Because if you use technology well, they'll want to come.
Say more.
Well, the thing is, the inviting atmosphere of being able to sit in a worship service, again, and not be judged, but come for the express purpose of being changed and transformed, and not having to change or cower or differentiate yourself from others or be differentiated by others in the sense of dress or attitude or personality. Because all of us come to the cross bare understanding we all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. But the tension is the church over time has become a place where we let culture dictate to us how we worship, in the sense of now we judge people before they even walk through the doors as to who will be accepted into our membership and who will not, instead of come all and allow Christ to sift through the hearts and make the change.
You in a number of ways with that. Now we got to break in a few minutes, but I want to get back to that because we were just talking about technology. And you went to dress and judgmental. I mean,
that's the reason for hiding behind the screen. I can dress the way I want.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, we're coming back in just a moment. My guest is William Watson. We're going to take a short break. Thank you for watching the Academy, and we'll be right back.
Why are you doing all this speeding? What time you gotta be there, huh? You ain't James Bond. You ain't some GTA character. You are not on Fast and Furious, okay? This is real life, and you are a normal pedestrian. Look at a speed sign, all right? Turn off that radio. Pay attention so you don't end up killing somebody like this fool almost did to me. This message is sponsored by Lane College, the power of potential. And remember, drive carefully.
Come Come on a journey with us to a world connecting you to your college. With a world that is changing at a rapid pace and is technology driven, the Mass Communication Department provides valuable news and information to the public, providing commentary, entertaining through film, radio, television. You can count on the Mass Communications Dragons to keep you on your toes and in the know of the latest activities going on campus, on all social sites. WLCD, the voice of the Dragons.
Attention students, basketball season is about to start. Don't miss your chance to be a part of Lane College media team as we cover the games all season long.
La música de Harry Fraud.
Welcome back to the Academy. I am your host, Professor Casandra Owens, with my guest, Pastor William Watson. Again, thanks for being here.
Listen, again, thank you for inviting me.
Let's get right back in. I'm going to table that conversation we had earlier. I'm going to get back to that before we leave.
Okay.
But what do you think is the key to developing a successful ministry team?
Building not like personalities, but building according to the need. I think the tension is we build personalities around us as individuals, whoever that leader is or whoever that pastor is. And ultimately, you're not building for the pastor, you're building for the people you're trying to meet the needs of. And so you need to make sure that you build the team spiritually, of course, holistically, understanding the discernment of the Holy Spirit as to the vision you have been given. I believe the church has one mission, of course, Matthew chapter 28, verses 16 through 20. But also we have many missions for many individual fellowships or local churches that line up with that mission to be carried out across the country, across state, across, city, however you want to use the term. So you have to build to suit the potential that is in your congregation.
So you build to meet the needs of those who are currently there and those who you want to on their way, those you think are coming.
Yeah. Well, again, the thing is, I believe if you build properly according to how God has designed ministry, mission, and vision, then you will be assigned. Others will come. But you also have to make sure, again, as you say, if you're building for the present, you have to build in preparation for the future at the same time. So if you build for the present, you're already preparing for the future. Because as God adds, then you continue to assimilate them into the life of the church.
And they come in and find their way and their niche, and it keeps the growth?
Not necessarily find their way.
What would you say?
Ultimately, I believe that 28 and 16 through 20, where it says, and make disciples. So it's not necessarily them finding their way as us making sure that they mature in the principles. And in maturing in the principles, they discern and find their way.
Gotcha.
I think the tension is we allow a free-for-all in most aspects of ministry, where you come in, tell me what you want to do, not what you are gifted at. And I didn't say good at, because some things you are gifted at, you're not necessarily good at until you are properly equipped and developed through the maturing of the word. And so once we know what you're gifted at, when people are working in their gifted areas, they're excited, they're passionate, they're joyful, they're ready to move. But when people are just working in areas they're good at, or somewhere where you stick them because you just need somebody
in that slot,
then that causes the revolving door in many ways.
Yeah, and I always say this, you can say more about this. I think the church is one place where people go and they just fill in with no qualifications, no credentials, and we kind of just take a mediocrity approach to it all.
Yeah. I think, again, one is gifting.
Okay.
Because primarily the call comes from God.
Okay.
Based on the invested gift of the resurrected, crucified Christ, if we believe Ephesians chapter 4. When Ephesians chapter 4 comes into play and Paul is writing to the church at Ephesus, he shares with them that Christ conquered death, the grave, hell. He gave him out resurrection power. When he rose, he passed out invested gifts. Instead of being a king that conquered and kept the spoils of victory,
Right.
he was a king that conquered and passed out gifts to those who were a part of the kingdom. So now you have a gift in you. Our responsibility, which comes into verse 11, where it says, and he gave some apostles, some prophets, some pastors, some teachers, some evangelists for the work of ministry, to equip the saints in such a way for the work of ministry, rather. Then our responsibility is, as pastors, as leaders, as teachers, is to equip saints to mature in their gifted areas, thus making room for them in the life of the church so that they can serve. I share wonderfully at my church one thing, and I love it, as I tell them when we sit down in the members class, as we talk about assimilation into the life of the church, I don't do everything, and I'm not ashamed to say that.
Yes.
There are pastors who open the door, who open the sound room, who open the finance room, sign the checks. I don't do that. I don't do that. I intentionally came into the church and asked for 2 keys. 1, I just need to get in the door. Then 2, I need to get in my office.
And that's all.
That's all I need. I don't want to do all of that, because then I take gifts, opportunities away from
other people.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Who are able to do it, who can do it better than I can.
So your thing is to empower people to do what they do.
Well, they're
gifted.
already invested in. I empower them through the preaching of the word.
Okay.
And
okay.
that's where to equip saints to do the work of the ministry. When I empower them through sound preaching in my gifted area, which is pastoring, which is preaching, which is teaching the word, then they can go.
So tell me a little bit about how you think religion influenced culture, or culture influenced religion, and where we are in this process today.
There was a time when religion did have a hold on culture, in the sense of helping to evolve it in a special way in some areas. Now I think culture dictates to the church what it does. Its trends, its way of speaking, its way of talking. And so we have to, again, make sure that even in the modes that culture is using transitionally as generation passes and generations come, that we keep the dominant theme, and that is sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. Because in this culture, as it continues to transition now, and the next generation comes in, there's no telling how ministry is going to be done and from where ministry is going to be done. And in this wonderful age of artificial intelligence, there's no telling who you will be preaching to.
So are you comfortable? Does that cause personal tension for you, that culture has such a different...
I love it. I love it. It's an opportunity for me where people begrudge and get angry and begin to talk about nostalgic moments so much. I love it. It just looks like another opportunity for me to go after for the kingdom of God when people say that.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So did I hear you say that you like the whole confrontation piece at some kind of level? Is that what I'm hearing?
How can you not enjoy the struggle of taking the gospel everywhere? I enjoy it. I don't look at anything that comes my way as a burden, in the sense of just making it my demise. I look at everything as an opportunity. Someone's upset, it's an opportunity to help them understand better.
Okay.
If they don't want to understand, it's an opportunity to keep sharing and becoming more refined. I always tell people, you need opposition in order to become stronger. Without opposition, you'll never know your full potential.
Now, that's good. I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we run from that opposition because of fear, not realizing that that's what's going to make us strong and take us to our next dimension, whatever that may look like.
Yeah. Jesus met his opposition head on.
Yes.
In the garden, he walked toward opposition. Disciples sleeping, he says, come on, y'all get up. It's time to go meet why I came. He came to die. He was born to die that we might live. And so, in the garden, being betrayed by what he thought was a friend,
a good friend,
who ate at the table, and now he shares, come on, let's go meet them. I must do what I have come to do. Listen, after you talk with God in the garden and you agonize, when you get up, the only thing you can do is go
to it.
That's it.
Meet the challenge head on.
That's it. And that's why I love ministry in such a way that I don't think anything is to my detriment. in the sense of God putting me in a position
where you have
that He cannot be glorified and I cannot be edified at the same time.
Hold that thought.
Yes, ma'am.
You're watching the Academy. I'm your host, Professor Casandra Owens. We will take a short break and we'll be right back.
La música de Harry Fraud.
Attention students, basketball season is about to start. Don't miss your chance to be a part of the Lane College media team as we cover the games all season long.
Come on a journey with us to a world connecting you to your college. With a world that is changing at a rapid pace and is technology driven, the Mass Communication Department provides valuable news and information to the public, providing commentary, entertaining through film, radio, television. You can count on the Mass Communications Dragons to keep you on your toes and in the know of the latest activities going on campus, on all social sites. WLCD, the voice of the Dragons.
Why are you doing all this speeding? What time you gotta be there, huh? You ain't James Bond. You ain't some GTA character. You are not on Fast and Furious, okay? This is real life, and you are a normal pedestrian. Look at a speed sign, all right? Turn off that radio. Pay attention so you don't end up killing somebody like this fool almost did to me. This message is sponsored by Lane College, the power of potential. And remember, drive carefully.
Welcome back. You are watching the Academy with your host, Professor Casandra Owens, and my guest, Pastor William Watson. Reverend Watson, what do you think is the relationship between religion or church and the Academy?
I think it needs to be wonderfully wedded in all places. The Academy has its place. It does. It does. It literally has its place. When many people think that I can just do, I just come in and I can just do without any kind of just structure or
teaching,
anything like that. It has its place. I'm adamant about Academy, even to the point where just going back to school and finishing a degree at Union and going back to Union again, hopefully in the spring, to finish another degree, and pushing on, professors pushing me. I think it weds together, it helps the gift to become more refined. Now, the Academy does not make me a pastor or a preacher, but it helps to craft the tool and the gift that God has given me. It helps to refine it and make me a better tool in His hands for His people. So I believe that's what the Academy adds to the church. It helps the church in those who are gifted to become more refined in their areas so that they can become better tools in the hand of God, in the hands of ministry, better working parts as we come together as one in unity in order to do kingdom work.
So would you require that your ministers, if you will, those under you, attend a seminary or school, or are you comfortable with just saying, I'm comfortable with the call?
Well, not comfortable with the call. I would require them to do it if they could afford it. If they can't afford it, we do provide it, because I sit with ministers, with leaders, and train and develop as well. So if you cannot go and get the information, I bring the information to you. So
okay.
I have instructors to come in and share and teach. I teach courses and classes myself, people I'm connected with through the Academy. I have family in the Academy. I have mentors who come in and preach and share from across the country throughout the year that sit with and do sessions and just interaction, just formal type fellowships where we're just sitting one from another, just dialoguing about ministry. So I believe in the Academy in all sorts of ways, not just you going to a specific classroom and having to sit there and learn, because many people are able to be in those settings. They learn differently. So you have to find, as pastor, as shepherd, how your people learn that you have been given responsibility for, and then help to shape them and provide for them the opportunities to learn. Some may feel too old, some may feel like they're not financially astute or stable, so you have to look at those things.
So what would you say to your young adult members who are at the college age and who are struggling with all sorts of things? But you say, continue on. I mean, how do you reconcile all that they go through and being at the academy as well?
How do I reconcile?
How would you have them reconcile it?
You have an opportunity. I tell every young man that attends the fellowship. We have students who come over from Lane, students who come over from Union, students who come from Jackson State, young ladies and young men. I tell all of them, we are here at First Baptist to help you have a great experience in your college tenure. Okay. So while you're here, whatever we can do to help, we're here. There's nothing that you can ask for that we're not going to try and provide for you as you try to reach that goal. Don't waste an opportunity. Everybody does not get the opportunity to go to school, to get an education, and you've been afforded this opportunity. However, and for whatever reason, don't waste it. Use it. Use it so that you can help pull others up as you go forward. And so this is our opportunity to help pull others up, help push others forward, especially young students. So we try to provide that.
And that's important to you, to make sure that they are getting what they need to move the kingdom forward?
Oh yeah. Not just move the kingdom forward, but move themselves forward. Because not only do they have to be a good kingdom citizen, they have to be a good earthly citizen as well.
Gotcha.
So again, you need to be both heavenly minded as well as earthly and socially conscious at the same time.
Yeah, you're showing your age. That's really an old saying. See, you was doing pretty good.
I know it. I don't mind being old. I'm good.
You're showing your age.
I'm good.
Let me ask you, how does soul winning look different now than then? How are you reaching the lost and saved with the tablets and the iPhone? So how do you connect to those who are, I'm just going to say lost, for lack of a better word, that you want to bring in? Is it different for you now with the whole technology piece?
Not different at all.
Okay.
I still extend the same invitation.
Okay.
I still extend the same call. I still preach the same way, teach the same way, as they look, as they view from their settings, and they hear the cry and the call of encouragement to come. Because again, I love technology, but my goal is to share and to speak in such a way that you understand the dynamic of being in the family. Okay. It's like a family gathering. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving. Nobody wants to eat Thanksgiving dinner from their phone. And nobody's going to eat Thanksgiving dinner at their home in front of their computer, eating chicken and dressing while everybody's at one person's house. And so you're dining with them as if we're all together. That's not even an option. You want to be in the house, you want to hear the crazy stories, you want to encourage those who are in the family, you just want to be there.
in the midst.
Yeah, you want to see what's going on, because there's something different about being in the midst of it.
In the presence.
And that's the challenge. But that's also the joy of preaching now. It's challenging them to know that there's more in the midst than there is behind your phone. You want to be in the company. Something happens differently. You appreciate more your experience when you're in the company.
Yes. My last question for you, Pastor Watts, is this. Is there a place where religion and politics can coexist?
In the hearts of men and women.
Okay.
Most people try to, again, challenge in various ways, and I think every way, structurally and soundly and intelligently reached is good, but also understanding that it's only when you reach the hearts of men and women that you can really affect change in politics, because again, if you don't change a person's heart, changing policy doesn't mean a thing. Because policies, we've had policies all our lives.
Yes.
And the hearts of people who wield and use the policies are what really matter. And so we have to be more intentional, I believe, from the ministry, from the church, and from the academy who trains, to develop a person's heart in order that when they stand in those areas of politics, that they're able to yield from their hearts not just from a thought of what is good for them and them alone. The Bible says you ought to think more of others than you do of yourself.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
So, again, we pray that people will have that thought.
Well, thank you to my guest, Pastor William Watson. You have been watching The Academy. I am your host, Casandra Owens. And as always, in leaving, I leave you with these words. I wish you the faith to move mountains, the courage to walk on water, the love of God, the love of neighbor, and the love of yourself. Thanks again for watching The Academy, and happy Thanksgiving and Christmas to you all.